Good afternoon, everyone. It's Louise here from Eleanor Grace, and this is the latest and last in the trio of projects that we've done for the Japanese inspired stitch along. So this is a Boro sampler. This is one that I made some time ago after a course that I did. I actually didn't like quite a lot of the bits that I did in it, so I unpicked a lot of it and redid it. But it's meant to be something just using up scraps. You'll have seen on the previous video, so I won't go into great detail about how to put one together. But you want to choose a colour scheme, and I would say usually odd numbers of colours work. I'm going to do a colour scheme on the new piece that I've got, which is going to have 3 colours, because I feel that that's probably enough. I have used here things like variegated thread, and all of this is cotton perle 8, and as I say, parts of it I redid it because I'd learnt so much in the stitch along that it didn't really work for me anymore. So I'm going to do 2 pieces to work on with this today. 2 more next week and 2 the week after, and you can use those as you like. You can also, as I said last week, you can stain, or you can use dye, or you can use old bits of fabric. What I've done for my new piece is I've used all linen, so those of you who had the packs, you would have had some linen pieces in there, but what I've done is sometimes I've used it the wrong way round. So this had this pattern here. I turned it over and it just looks like it's faintly dyed, like you've splattered it with tea or something like that. Mum also gave me some lovely bits which do already have a pattern on, so I'm going to slightly cheat and incorporate that in this one. But first of all, when you put your piece together, I've stitched around each of the pieces and around the edge. So I did the edge first with these pieces all pinned, and then I stitched around each apart separately. Those obviously those stitches will come out when you've finished. So my colour scheme is going to be like that. So I've got a soft blue, which sort of goes well with the colours here. I've got sort of peachy pink colour, and I've got a sort of soft to medium yellow. I just felt these colours were a bit different. It's almost a bit, if this was red, I would have the primary colours here, but I'm going to talk a bit about colour in the next couple of weeks on the group. So do come into the group if you're not already. Slow Stitching by Hand with Eleanor Grace. But yeah, I just like this. They're all soft. They're all sort of going towards pastels, which, as those of you who've known me a while will know, that tends to be my favourite, but not always. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on a couple of stitches. We're going to start off nice and easy. We're going to work on a couple of stitches that we've done before, that we've used in the piece that we made with the bunting, and so we will go through those first of all. So as you'll probably remember, we looked at 2 main types of stitching in Sashiko, which are the stitches that are used for Boro. So Boro would actually be very, very simple running stitches, which is the hitemazashi, and you can see I've done some of those here, some very tight little running stitches, some longer ones here alternating. And the other one is moyozashi, which is the doing the same sort of stitch but in a curve, often sort of in different shapes. Like we tried the little sort of domes, which was very pretty when we were doing the bunting. But we're just going to do a couple of simple ones. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do these moyozashi circles. So all it is using a running stitch in a circle, and what you might want to do is get a coin, or a small coin, or a sort of flat button or something like that, and just mark very gently around the edge. If you wanted to use a heat erasing pen or a pencil, and you would stitch over that. That can be quite helpful. I did use that several times during the pieces we made earlier. The other thing I've done here is use colour changing, so you know, a thread that's variegated, which looks really nice because it looks like you've planned it, but you haven't actually planned where the changes are coming. It just changes it as it goes along. Obviously, I'm using just a plain blue thread for this one, so I will get my button and we will be ready to go. So I'm going to use this heat erasable pen, and I've got my little button here. Now this one is a very nice sort of mother of pearl type button, but it's slightly domed on one side and it lies flat on the other, so I'm going to use it where it lies flat. And what I would tend to do is probably if I had a couple of pieces that were patterned, I would save those for one of the other stitches. I would tend to do this particular stitch on something quite plain, so I'm thinking this piece here. So I'm going to just mark a few little stitches. Now, as always with this type of stitching, the stitch length should be about the same, and the distance between them should be about the same. So ideally, you should have something like that. And then I'm just going to start stitching. So, you know, what you could do if you haven't got variegated thread is you could start with one colour and then do another bit with another colour and then bring in another colour. But I'm just going to start off on these. So I'm remembering, of course, I'm going to gently iron this afterwards, but it helps you just have something to follow. So I'm just going to go around that. And then I shall move into the next line. So I'm going to pop it on hold while I go around here, because you don't want to watch me doing every single one of these stitches. Okay, I'm just coming up to my last stitch. As you can see, I've sort of slightly chopped the stitch length as I went around, so you can see some of the pink, but not to worry, that will soon be ironed out when I finish the piece. Now, if you're really not too sure about getting your stitches in order, then you could get another smaller button or bead or something and make the smallest circle in the centre, and then you could work on the circle in between it. But once I've got a circle like this, I usually feel quite confident that I can more or less get round. What I tend to do is I tend to overlap the stitches, a bit like we did on one of the pieces on the bunting. So as you can see here, I've got to just rethread. Instead of following the exact same spacing around, I'm almost doing the opposite. So I'm coming in between the stitches of the previous row, and I would do that again all the way round. So again here, I'm just trying to see, it's not going to be quite so easy to do it perfectly, but then again, we don't look for perfection, do we, really? So I'm going to go here. So again, you don't want to overthink this. Like all slow stitching, we don't aim for absolute perfection. What we aim for is the feeling that we get doing this and enjoying ourselves. So that's coming along. Again, I won't bore you by going the whole way round. I'm going to pop it on hold for a minute and come back to you. So here we go again into the last stitch, and as you can see, I've gone more or less in between the rows previously, and then just to do that again, so you just go again, start off in between the stitches. Now once you get smaller, it does sometimes get a little bit more complex, but again, not sort of overthinking it and just trying to keep the stitches relatively even, as with any Sashiko or Boro piece. And then I think we will have finished that part, and what I will do is just make some more of those and decorate this plain bit of linen. Linen is best if you can get it. If you can't, then a good quality cotton with a bit of a weight to it would be ideal. So there I've got a little space in the middle. Now with the ones I did previously, I did a little stitch in the middle, but I'm actually really liking that little bit of empty space there. So I'm going to leave that just like that. And what I'm going to do is just tie that off on the back. As you can see, I've backed mine with calico. There we go. So what I will be doing, off camera of course, is I'll be just replicating that with the other colours. So I will do, and I might even do a bit of a mixture, so I might do a little round in one and a round in another. So I'm going to get my little peach and yellow colours and get those together. So that's going to take up one of these spaces. Now on my particular piece here, I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different spaces to fill. It depends what you've got. If you've got something with a large sort of piece, if you look here, this is one piece of fabric here. I split that into sections, so I sort of did one thing in one in another, and then I moved into something else. So we will be doing that. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to do some hitomazashi. So hitomazashi, if you remember, is the straight stitch. So we're going to be doing it. I'm going to try this in the yellow and see if the colour is bright enough for you to see easily. And this is straight stitches. Now the one I particularly loved was the hitomazashi star, and I'm going to go and do that on a small section. These are really lovely. The one thing to remember that is a bit of a rule, as with slow stitching, I don't have a lot of rules, but for the hitomazashi stars, it is important that the threads don't cross, so there will always be a hole in the middle. Okay, so what you want to start off, and I've got a piece with lines here which will probably really help with my first couple of stars. So what I'm going to do is start on the left hand side, because I am left-handed, and I'm going to make 2 straight stitches with a little hole in the middle, and these are going to be the first 2 arms of my star. This is lovely but slightly thick to work with. So I'm going to leave a little space in the centre and make the 2 first horizontal parts of my star. I hope you can see that okay. Then I'm going to do the top and bottom bits, again leaving a space. So I'm going to start in the middle but come slightly out. Oh, I've lost my thread. Let's put that back together. And I'm going to make the 2 vertical. This is a little bit off kilter, but again, it is slow stitching, so we don't want perfection. Okay, so there we are. We've got a little cross of sorts with a hole in the middle. Then we come in from the edge in between the 2. Again, not coming entirely into the centre, but coming near to it. And we do that all the way round. So we're just making a little star. And that's the hitomazashi star. And I do love the look of these. They'd be lovely for a nighttime scene. If you're doing something on black or dark blue, it'd be lovely to do some stars on that. I might have to find myself some dark blue linen. I might have some in my store. I'm going to have a look. So there we go. So that's a hitomazashi star. So those are 2 things to work on. I did say we'd only do 2, but I think it's fair to say it's probably worth doing 3 on this first week, because I've got 9 spots, and hopefully you will have enough space to create sort of up to 9 different designs. Let's go for a third one, shall we? Come on, let's be rebels. So, and for those of you who've asked after Ella, I must say, you know, as you know, in the winter she likes to come in and join in the videos. She is at the moment sunning herself in the garden. in the summer she hardly comes in, and I can get on with my videos with no problems. But I do miss her not coming in and helping me. So I am going to do a third one, and this is going to be with the peach colour, and this is going to be a very simple, what I like to call wandering stitches. I'll show you an example of it on my old Boro sampler, and this can be quite useful. It's just a bit like doing yourself a little stitch book. You can look back at the stitches and see how you did them. For instance, here I expanded this circular one and made it with longer stitches around the edge. This is a sort of wandering pattern that we're going to be doing. I've done it over here as well, sort of just wandering around, and it does look lovely in a variegated thread, but I haven't got any of that at the moment. I'm going to come over this side. I have this little bit of colour here on the from the thread that from the fabric that my mum gave me. What I might do is follow a little blue along there, but I'm just going to start doing this. And all you do, very simply, is start off in one place. Now you can either do one long piece of wandering around, or you can do a short piece of wandering and then stop, and then start from somewhere else and then do a little bit and then stop. It's totally up to you. But what you do is you just see where it takes you. Don't have any sort of firm ideas of where you want to go. Just lose yourself in it. Maybe put some music on, something, something sort of relaxing and sort of puts you in a dream state, something, something that really appeals to you. And then just start going off in the direction that the thread takes you. What you want to aim for is the idea of just wandering, not doing nice curves and not sort of sticking too rigidly to one particular direction. So what I do is just every so often I think, oh, I feel like changing directions. So I must say this is a lovely thing to do if you're feeling a bit tired or a bit stressed. It's really lovely to sort of wander mindfully, but almost sort of mindlessly as well. And I do often do one of these, and I can't really remember how I got to where I got to, but it felt good doing it, so I don't sweat it. There we go. And that's 3 for you to do. We'll have 2 or 3 again next week, and 2 or 3 the week after as well. Then that will be the end of this stitch along, and I have some other exciting plans which I'm going to tell you more about soon for some workshops, and going back to basics. So there's going to be some interesting things going on, but I'm going to carry on stitching this, and I'll probably wind myself somewhere around here. I might just then stop and start again. We will see, but I will come back to you next week with an updated piece, and then we can move on to the next stitches, and then we will be working towards the end. So do enjoy and have a little play. If you just want to do some very simple straight stitches, some very simple hitamazashi, which is just running stitch, then you can do that. But have a little play with these options and see what appeals to you. And I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.